Let me show you how to sew this cute little hair bow. The first thing you want to do is pick out your fabric. This is 100% cotton. We are going to cut out 2 of the same size pieces, but on a side note, if you don't have one of these rotary cutters, you need to get one because it's so much easier to cut out your fabric this way. So you're going to do 2 pieces at 4.5 by 8.5, and then 1 piece by 1.5 by 4. You're going to take your first piece and put right sides together, and then you're just going to sew down the long end of the project. And you just have to do a regular stitch on this, nothing fancy. Also, make sure you're back stitching a few stitches each time you start and end a project. Now you want that seam to be in the middle, and you're going to flip it over and put the ends together, and then you're just going to sew down that end. Once you've done that, you just need to flip it right side out so that your seam is in the middle. This is going to be the piece that makes the actual little bow at the top. So what you're going to do is you're going to scrunch it together and try to pinch the pieces up so that it forms like that. And then you're just going to take an elastic band and wrap around that. The reason you use the elastic band is because once you've put it on, it's so much easier to be able to stretch and move your material if you need to get it to look exactly how you want it to. And then you have a little bow. Super cute, super easy. So now we're going to move on to the tail. To do the tail, you want to put the wrong sides down, flip it in half long ways, and then you're going to flip it in half sideways, and we're going to cut at an angle. That's going to create the tails of the bow. Once you've done that, you want to flip it inside out and put all those seams together, and then we're going to sew down this, but you want to leave a gap to be able to turn your work right side out. Another tip, make sure when you're coming to your points in your work like this, you just leave the needle in, and all you have to do is lift your foot up, turn your work, and then start sewing again. Now, once you have that, you want to turn it inside out. If you have a fancy tool to push your work in the corners, by all means use that, but I'm just using a pencil. Regardless of what you're using, make sure you're gentle here so that you do not rip your seams on the inside. So you want to do that on both sides, and then I usually take an iron to it just to make it flat. And you're going to flip the little pieces of your open work onto the inside and then sew that shut. Once you've done that, we're going to do the same bunching that we did on the bow. And then you're going to put it with the bow and apply another elastic. Again, this is going to be able to let you move your work and put it how you want it. So now you have the actual bow. So now that little piece, you're just going to take and fold in half and then fold in half again. And once you've done that, you just sew down it. This is a 3-inch alligator clip that I've hot glued to the back of the bow. Now we're going to put a little hot glue in the middle with it lifted, and you're going to take that small piece and stick it in there and close it and make sure that dries. Once it's dried, you're going to flip it through the bow all the way around, lift it back up, put another dot of hot glue, and then cut the excess once it has dried. And after you've done all of that, you have this cute little hair clip bow.
Thanks for watching.